Hashimoto's is one of those conditions that used to be pretty rare. It's a chronic autoimmune condition impacting the thyroid. And the thyroid is so important for so many functions in the body. And when you develop the symptoms of Hashimoto's, it's basically telling your body that there are a number of different imbalances. In fact, any autoimmune disease, whether it's Hashimoto's, ulcerative colitis, whether it's rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile idiopathic arthritis, whatever the autoimmune disease is a warning sign that your body is out of balance and needs to be brought back into balance. And just like with autism, which is largely autoimmune, there's a huge autoimmune component in autism. Just like any of these other conditions, what you need to look at is where in the body do I need to address imbalances? The gut, nutrient deficiencies, it could be toxic burden. There's all kinds of tests you can do to see what kind of toxic load you have in your cells and your tissues. One of the interesting things about living in the modern world is we are so bathed in toxins, heavy metals, petrochemicals. There are some people who are really good at detoxifying. When these chemicals come in, their bodies effectively eliminate them. There are some people that just aren't good at eliminating these chemicals. And when you store these chemicals, it's going to have lots of downstream problems and can contribute to autoimmunity. There's a great book called The Autoimmune Epidemic, written by a woman named Donna Jackson Nakazawa over a decade ago. And she looked at all of these women in particular who developed autoimmune conditions, lupus and Hashimoto's and other kinds of conditions, due to their exposure to environmental chemicals. Again, environmental chemicals are one type of exposure or stressor on the body that can contribute to autoimmunity, but it is an important one. And like I said, there are some people who can detoxify those chemicals effectively and some people who can't. There's a couple things that contribute to your ability to detoxify effectively. One of them can be actually your genetic makeup. There are various tests you can take to find out sort of how effectively does your body detoxify based on your genetic makeup, based on single nucleotide polymorphisms that you might have. And if you have certain types of SNPs, they're called, you can actually help support the body through nutrition and supplementation to better detoxify. There's a very well-known SNP or series called MTHFR that have an impact on your ability to detoxify. So you can go get a test, a genetic test done. And if you have this genetic mutation or one of two types of genetic mutation, you can actually take a different type of folate so that you can improve your body's ability to detoxify. There are other things that impact your body's ability to detoxify. The gut bacteria. The gut bacteria are actually crucial for detoxification. And here's a great example. There was a study that was done in the 80s where a researcher took two groups of mice and he fed both groups of mice. One group of mice got a feed with antibiotics in it, and the other group of mice did not get antibiotics. Then he fed both groups of mice methylmercury. Mercury is a neurotoxin. It can completely impact your immune function. It can impact your brain function. And these mice were then evaluated after they had been given the mercury. What they found was that the mice who had been given the mercury and the antibiotic actually retained the mercury in their fatty tissues, in their liver and their brain. But the mice who had not received the antibiotic actually excreted a lot of the mercury in their stool. So that tells you right there the critical role that gut bacteria play in detoxifying us. So if you think about all these people who have autoimmune conditions, sometimes it's helpful to know how many rounds of antibiotics have they had, what kinds of things might have impacted their gut, and what might be impeding their ability to detoxify. And on top of that, what might be in their environment that is toxic to their body and that their body might be struggling to get rid of. Those are all things that are important to people who have autoimmune conditions. Another thing that's important to detoxification is actually nutrient status. So your body, there's a lot of nutrients that your body needs to help you effectively detoxify. Minerals, things like sulfur are really important for detoxifying. Things that you get in foods like broccoli, cruciferous vegetables, cauliflower, those kinds of things, but also in eggs. And if you are not getting enough of those sulfurous-based foods or foods that are mineral-rich, your body's not going to be able to detoxify as effectively. So it's really a perfect storm that contributes to these autoimmune conditions, environmental exposures, and your body not being really resilient enough to deal with these environmental exposures.